Gentlemen, let's jump at it. We're going to get right at it here. Let's just hop right into the first subject. We've got a lot to cover here today. We're going to start with major team discussion. And I'm going to kick this first question. We're going to start with you, Mr. Jason Magnum, with this. And then we're going to see who else wants to chime in on this. So first question is, will Daniel Cayton and Stephen Lloyd be major contributors again? So obviously a little bit of a loaded question coming at you, but let's hear what you have to say, because this has been a very popular one, especially in the chats we've seen online.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Before Bama's break in the game for a year, we were teammates on Resmondo, and I considered him the best overall player in softball. Dude can do it all. His speed, hits with power, hits it down, defense, can run. Just there's nothing bad I can say about Cayton's game. And he was already at the very top. Came back out of Chicago. I think I heard in the group chat we was kind of giving him hell a little bit because he made 3 or 4 out Sunday, but he was like 30 for 33 going into Sunday, like straight out of the gate. Dude's amazing. So I believe he's going to be a very, very big part, and he's going to, insert his dominance over the game and let everybody know he's still, if not the top, one of the top players in the game. And when it comes to Stephen Lloyd, his defense was amazing. He pulled his groin at some points in Chicago. He felt like he struggled at the plate a little bit, but Lloyd's called a unicorn for a reason. Everybody knows he was the best overall player in the game for a number of years, and I believe he'll come back out this week in Columbus, and he'll show everybody him and Cayton will be fighting for the best overall player in the game before the season's over.
I like it. Now, does anyone else that's either played with these guys or played against them or anything like that want to chime in about kind of thoughts on these two players that coming back and making a very quick impact for Monsta?
I think Daniel Cayton is top-notch, 5-star, golden standard infielder that you would want. Like, I don't really chime too much on hitting. There's a lot of ins and outs about that. You can get high, you can get cold, whatever it is. But defense, that's one thing that's permanent. And your boy can take off as long as he wants. And every now and then I'll watch. And he's like, I like to surround myself with a bunch of people that aren't impressed by anything. But every now and then, home skillet comes out. And they'll be like, that the Asian dude with a thick old accent, he's country. He's from Alabama. That guy's insane. That guy's amazing. Everything about that guy is incredible. Like, it's just like that like the flow and the throw and just everything that I would do at short, like he does it. But like on an even more, I don't think it's a coincidence that the last time you saw Stephen Lloyd and then you saw Daniel Cayton, they won the major. And then the last time you saw Daniel Cayton, he won the major. So it's like I don't think there's any debate. Like, even if they were half the players they were, they're still insanely better than everybody out there. But like, even if you had no groins, I would still put Stephen Lloyd out there. Stephen
No groins.
Yeah. Act, by the way, like I was a little caveat off of that. It was one of my first tournaments, and I saw Stephen Lloyd come with the bat, and he was like 8 for 8 on the day. Like, I've been watching, he'd been playing in front of the game in front of me the whole day. And all of a sudden he went with the bat, one of those super duper questionable calls, and he struck out. And he looked at the umpire and he goes, "Really?" And then the umpire's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." And he walks right back to the dugout. I'm like, my man. I'm like, that's how you know that's the best player in the game right there.
I love it. DW, did you want to add in something there about these gentlemen?
I talked to Cayton in Chicago, and he kept in shape while he was gone, but he still said, game day, he was fatigued, and he has to overcome that. But he says he prefers middle infield, which is where Monsta's using him. He had an 800 on base percentage. He looks smooth. Him and Lloyd, had a couple balls where they didn't communicate maybe on who was going to get the ball and stuff like that to work out. But Lloyd definitely had the groin injury. His on base was only like 414 or something like that. But it looks like he's going to turn it around pretty quick. And he was the best defensive second baseman in the game when he left 2 years ago. So
very cool. Yeah, it's interesting to me also just seeing that it's amazing how each year you've got teams that are very good. Like Monsta, you guys were doing awesome, and then you get even better. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a good sign. You say, hey, you know what? We're very good. Oh, let's just put some cherries on top of that or get even better. So it's gonna be really cool to see what happens with you guys. So that's really interesting.
Bumped
Now
up to double major.
Exactly. Yeah, triple major by the end of the year. John, let's kick it to you with a different question here, and I think this is another interesting one because I know you're a pitcher.
Yeah.
And a sponsor, of course, a lot of things that you do here. MPT made a very interesting move now several weeks ago of the recording of this. Several weeks ago, they brought in Mr. Bill Pinkham to improve their pitching. What's your thoughts on that? Does that make MPT a true contender?
Pink's a fantastic pitcher. He really is, and it helps their depth with pitching. He fields it exceptionally well. I faced him a couple times. He's tough to square it up. He lives high in the zone, and from what I understand, he's a good teammate. I've played against him for a couple years now, and I think it will help their depth. And it depends on how he fits in with the rest of the team. They probably were looking for a little bit of a spark. As far as the major teams go, they needed a little something. So I would say yes, it will help them. It will help them with the other major teams.
Okay.
The defense likes to play behind them.
Yes.
Yeah, we're saying that sometimes a pitching change can make. I mean, you can't. If a team's not playing up to standards, wherever they think, you can't necessarily get rid of the whole team. We've seen that happen though. But for the most part, unfortunately, pitchers, for better or worse, it's like goaltending in hockey. You see behind me that like people make those changes, and sometimes people play better behind people. I've seen that. They just do. Maybe they're more confident for whatever reason. Joel, what are your thoughts on that? I'd be interested to hear just with Bill Pinkham.
Pinkham's a bulldog. Pinkham's exactly what you would want on the team. And before I mentioned Pinkham, like MPT, like that roster shouldn't lose, like ever. Like every single person there I will name, I'm a huge fan of. Like I'd buy that jersey. Like you got Orlando, you got John Williams, you got Flip, you got everybody down the line, and then they got Bill Pinkham, who my first year that was my first pitcher I ever faced, and I hit a solo, a double play, and I went over I don't know how many times right afterwards. The guy's insane, and then I seen him get hit at all the time, just gets right back up, dusts his Jordans off, which are always flawless and on point, and then he just comes back up in there and he has that real angry look. And it's like, bro, he's ready to roll. And I saw him win. The first time I ever saw him was when he won the AA with Bay Area. And that like on top of the fact that team was pretty stacked, that like he was unstoppable, man. I'm sorry.
Hit a sore spot up there with Jason.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. I mean, you're welcoming me to the club. Just got there, by the way.
That's funny. Jason, do you have any thoughts on Pinkham?
Man, I love Pinkham. I've been playing with him and against him. With him on backyards and against him for years and years now. I think he makes MPT a whole lot better. And that's no knock on Dirty, but Pinkham works constantly. He's nonstop working. The team gets behind it. He stole strikes, and the defense don't have to be just sitting out there burning up in the sun the whole time. And with that roster they have with Harvey, Big John, Flip, Orlando, and Dorton, it's just all going. I got him down as a serious threat coming into the major. I think if that bottom of the lineup and the unknowns that's never been there, has never done it, can step up and perform, then I think MPT's right there with everybody else.
Yeah, it's a vicious sport up at that very top level too. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you saw a team there that has a lot of potential. I think that when they do put it together, it's going to be very scary, right?
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that also they weren't Carucci. They were not afraid to make a move when they felt a move was necessary. Even with all that skill and all the things going on, they said, "Hey, we're still going to try to improve ourselves and do something, pretty quickly." You know what I mean? So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there with Bill Pinkham. But that's very interesting to hear. Very different perspectives. People played with him, against him, same position as him. DW, from your perspective, it's really interesting to hear about Mr. Bill Pinkham. So very interesting there. Rolling along, we have tons of topics here, so it's great to be able to get a lot in today. We never know. Joel might get into a 15-minute story and put us behind. We don't know, but right now we're killing it with our topics, and I like it. We're gonna go to DW on this one. Let's talk about computer rankings. Right. First of all, the question we'll talk about, you can kind of give some context here. We're going to talk about, does everyone feel if they're accurate? And if not, where are they wrong or how are they wrong? But let's talk, DW, if you want to just kind of set the table a little bit for this one.
We're going to talk about the major division only for the computer rankings, which you can see on Conference USSSA.com. Right now, Monsta has a slight computer ranking lead over Smash It, with Resmondo a half step behind those two, and then MPT's, MPT hasn't won a tournament yet. The other three major teams have won tournaments. Smash It's won 4. I think, and we'll go around the room and we'll see who everyone's pick is for the major at this point. And we know who Magnum's is going to be, but looking at Monsta, the key here, in my opinion, is they have not lost to a non-major team. All 6 of their losses are to major teams. 9-0 against AA, 8-0 against A, and 3-0 against B. So they're taking care of business, and obviously the key to that team, I think, is Vitsak being healthy, which I think they rested him in Chicago in order to hopefully get him healthy for the Smoky, and if they're playing Cincinnati and on. So what are your guys' thoughts about the rankings of the teams currently, how you think they'll change as the season goes on, or if they'll change, and who's your pick for the major right now if you had to pick a major team? I know, Joel, you're going to say S&E is going to win the major, but we need your picks on the major division.
Right, and also we'll make a rule of that. By the way, we'll say that you cannot. We're all going to assume you're going to pick your own team, right? I'll even pick Siteman Pure to win the major, right? So we'll just pretend that we can't pick your own team, and you have to pick someone else on these questions. Okay, so your team doesn't exist when it comes to this conversation. But go ahead, Joel.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you guys don't assume so much about me. Like, I'm really glad you don't speak for me and really think of me in a nice way. I appreciate you guys. I knew you guys were my friends. For the major, it's simple. It's Monsta. Monsta is, first of all, like, the only thing that comes close is Resmondo. Like, that little Colt, that's America's favorite Colt right there. And everybody somehow, some way, they always manage to pull it off. MPT is more like, they're more like the gang members in prison that they like to stick together and they'll beat you at any time, but really they don't stick together and have that much commitment. And then, don't get me wrong, like, listen, the frat boys all over there in Bad Draw, like, they're cool and all, but like, yo, Monsta's where it's at. Monsta has the perfect blend of everyone who has a chip on their shoulder and was benched for a while and now come out super angry and mean, and the newcomers will be like, what do you guys need me to do? And then shout out to my boy, Big Smooth, Kendall Wellborn. Thank you for, like, at least taking them to the next level. My boy's killing it over there. I believe that's the really key point on what's going on over there, holding it down at third as well. But yeah, it's Monsta. Like all day. Like, that team, Mags, you shouldn't lose not one game, bro. Even if
don't go there now. That's too much pressure.
No pressure. John, you want to chime in with what's your thoughts?
First of all, I love Joel's description of each team. Yeah. That's fantastic. We've played all 4 major teams this year. We're 0-4, so we haven't beat any of them yet. But I would say, like Joel said earlier, it doesn't make sense with MPT that they don't play better. They're too talented to not play better when you look at their team. It doesn't make sense. Resmondo isn't playing to their potential right now. And, I mean, what's the cliche? Resi in October. And Mags has been on that team. He knows they just figure it out in October. They really do. And Cats will kill me if I don't pick his team, but they win a lot in the regular season. They have a fantastic team in the regular season. And they've won the most so far this year. But the scariest major team is the Monsta team. And I'm not saying it because J Mag's on here, but those guys, they hit the ball so hard, they're so fast. Some of their guys, it shouldn't be legal that they're that big, that strong, that fast. It's just a scary team. It really is. And they got us by a couple runs at the duels, but they're now with the 2 additions. It's not fair. They're the favorite, in my opinion.
Okay, so we got Monsta. So now I'm going to go with someone that cannot go for Monsta. Ha. So we get another opinion here. We're going to go Mr. Jason Magnum, which obviously that's interesting that first two choices were going your way.
Yeah, well, I'm a firm believer what the great Ric Flair said, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And until we beat Resmondo in October, they are the man. Like, they've done it so many times. I feel like Saturday night, that's who we'll face for all the marbles. You got Connie over there, who's probably the greatest I've ever seen do it. I mean, you got Bubba Mack, who, man, nobody can say enough. Travis Clark, who's the biggest difference maker in all of USSSA. Finding somebody to match his bat on that mound is just it's not even close. So I'm going Resi one, and I'm gonna catch a lot of stuff flack for this, but I think MPT puts it together. I think they have a little bit more power than Sis, and MPT, if they can get it together, I don't know, like they're just so hit and miss, so inconsistent. You know, some days they look great, some days, I mean, they're 0-2 or 1-2 like they were a few tournaments ago. But with Flip, constantly on base, Harvey with his stadium power, again, Big John, Bradich, they should be there at the end. They had plenty enough power. And then you got Smash It. I mean, I'm going to go Smash It. Will they finish ahead of MPT? Probably. Should they? Probably not. I mean, out of all the major teams, I probably had them as the least most power. And most major teams are built for power on that stadium. So I'm going to go, but you got Andy up there who gets a lot of misses. You got Riley, who's the best overall hitter in the game. It ain't even close. And so I wouldn't count them out. But right now, in my gut feeling, I got Resi, MPT, and then Smash It.
Okay. All right. Now, DW, what about you? Do you want to? I got to put you on the. You come up with these difficult situations to put us all in, putting everyone in the spot here, right? So now you have to answer too, of course.
At this point, I'm going with Monsta to win it. Rismondo's got to get healthy, and Clark has to be healthy and playing well for them to win. It can happen. We know it can happen. MPT has to have Harvey 100% healthy. I think he's got some back issues right now. He's got to put up, 15 homers at the major, 18 homers, or they're out. And then Smash It has the two pitchers. That's the scary one. But their entire offense has to be healthy. Like when they miss one guy in that offense in those first 6 spots, they're a AA offensive team. So they all the teams, and Vitsak has to be healthy for Monza. So all the teams had one key guy that's got to be healthy, but Smash It has about 8 guys that have to be healthy for their offense to be there at the end. But as of this minute, I'm picking Monsta.
Okay, I guess I think I have to do something different so I don't all pick Monsta. I got to play against you guys this year, Jason. I do have to say our claim to fame this year was having the lead in the 5th inning against you guys, and then you guys scored 24, and then that was the end of that. So that was fun for everybody. Our joke about that was that we came out, we punched you guys, and then you guys were Mike Tyson and got us really good. But so I've gotten to play against that, and also gotten to watch a lot of the games, at all the tournaments as well. So I feel like I kind of it could go, as we all know, all the arguments here, all the points are really well made. Anyone could really win it. I'm going to go a little differing one on this one. And I'm going to go slight underdog based on the conversation. I'm actually going to go with Smash It for the sake of this argument for now. I think all the teams could win. I think that if they have it together and the pitching, and as DW said, everything kind of has to go right, but that's the World Series for everybody. Do you know what I mean? So maybe they'll go their way, but I would not be surprised at all 4, and it's like choosing between 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So it's a really tough one, but I'm just going to do that because you know what? I think I got to do something different here on the show. DW, we're going to add something there?
Yeah, real quick. Monsta also, not only they need Vitsak healthy, they have to learn to win. They still haven't learned to win. In Chicago, there was a point they had Smash It down 7 or 8. They needed 7 or 8 to win. They decided, you know what? We're going to hit all these solo homers to try to win the game. Instead, they probably should have played the game, tried to get some 2 and 3 run homers. And if they got within 3 or 4 runs, then hit the solos. But they immediately started hitting solos, and maybe Jason, you can speak to it. Smash It ended up coming back and winning the game because you guys came up a little short that inning.
Yeah, going into Chicago, we were beat up. Bitts was out. Lloyd pulled a groin, still hit a hamstring. So we were trying to get out there as fast as we could, and it just didn't work out. And that was a difference maker. I think I agree with DW looking back. We probably should have just kept playing the game, saved our home runs, and used them. But, when we said let's homer out on a 300-foot field, there's no excuses. We should have homered out. We had 9 home runs, and I think we only needed to hit 7. And on a 300-foot field, and it's cool, that should have been free for us. So we definitely failed on that, and it cost us a 3rd place instead of probably a 1st place. Because the winner of that, I felt was going to win it. No disrespect to Nitro Circus B team or A team, but I felt like whoever got back Sunday was gonna be the champion. And let me ask y'all this question to go off. My bad, I didn't mean to cut y'all.
No, go ahead. All you, Jason.
Let me ask the panel this question. Do you think it'd be good for the game if it's not the 2 superpowers that it's been for the last 20 years playing for the ring?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do too. I agree. So I'm hoping, everybody else feels the way we feel, that new blood, new people, it's good for the game.
I think it definitely would be. I mean, it keeps it more interesting. You don't want to have the same 2 contenders at the end,
I don't think Resmondo was a superpower the past 2 years. I don't think you guys should have won it the past 2 years.
Well,
really,
I'm gonna peel the curtain back and give y'all a Brett Helmer quote and the team mentality when I was on Resmondo. Brett said nobody remembers who won Vegas. No one remembers who won Chicago. They remember who wins the Smoky, the ASA, and the U-Trip World. If you win those 3, everybody else in the country is going to be mad because they didn't win nothing. So come Smoky time, I feel like we'll see the real Resmondo and definitely ASA and come October for the World. And that's their mentality over there. They only care about those 3 tournaments. Of course, they feel like any baseball they should win. But at the end of the day, they only care about those 3 tournaments.
Very good point. And you know what? I got one more question. This is going to be a spicy one about Resmondo. Then we're going to take a break. And then, Jason, actually, you brought up a very good topic about kind of regular season versus end of the season. We're going to talk about that after the break. But I got one more topic here before the break, and this is a spicy one that you kind of started it. Now we're just going to go down that path, right? So Resmondo leads the conference in walks and walk percentage. Okay, lead the conference in walks and walk percentage. You got the peepers going. The question is, though, do they get the smallest strike zone, or is that a myth? Smallest strike zone, or is that a myth? And now, Jason, I know you just were talking about them, so I'm going to put you on the spot, but I want to hear everyone on this one. This is going to be a very interesting topic. Then we'll go to a quick break.
All right, I will say this. Before I went to Resmondo, 1,000% I always felt the Worth Resmondo, not the Eastern Resmondo, but the Worth Resmondo definitely got a good strike zone. I felt like it was the same people doing the same games, same strike zone, and they got used to the players and used to the pitchers, and I just felt like they don't need to go back to that system. We got plenty of good umpires, so I think we should rotate them in, give everybody a shot. And with that being said, to be a great hitter in this game, you have to have a great eye. So once you get to Resmondo, you're considered on the top team in the world, and every one of them guys have great eyes. They're not very rarely they're gonna swing at balls, so their walk count's gonna go up. And I'm gonna roll with that answer right there. Just great eyes. Great hitters have great eyes, and you got to take advantage of your walks. And the whole memo over there was pass it down to your teammate. I don't care what you do, get the bat to your teammate. Don't bunch your outs and get the bat to your teammate. So if I'm gonna get in a walk, I got all the confidence in the world that Bubba Max behind me that he's going to hit it if he needs to. He's got all the confidence to Greg Connell. He's got all, so on to KP. So walks a hit is just as good as anything. There's nobody where, man, I better hit this because I got this guy behind me. He can't hit a home run or he can't get it done. 1 through 11 up there is stone cold hitters. So I think they take advantage of the walks for sure.
I love it. John, what's your thought on that? I know I'm putting everyone on the spot on this tricky kind of spicy question. What's your thoughts on it as a, AA team, a team that's risen up to AA, and you've obviously seen all kinds of different strike zones and things like that. What are your thoughts on the Resi one specifically?
It's definitely different, like major versus major, how they may feel. I know this is coming up as you move up from C to B to A to AA. You learn as a pitcher, you have to be able to throw the ball over the plate to these guys who are extremely patient and they know the strike zone extremely well. I don't think, in my opinion, Resmundo has a tighter strike zone than any of the other major guys who really know the strike zone. They just don't expand it. There's a reason why their on base is 750 to 800, because they know the strike zone. And so maybe a few years ago I would think that, but now I just know that you just have to be able to put the ball over the plate to them. And maybe it's a little bit tighter to all major guys, but they've earned that, and we just have to deal with that as pitchers when we play them. So that's my thought on it.
Got it. Joel, what's your thought?
I don't know what Resmundo you guys are talking about, because the Resmundo that I know doesn't walk for shiznit. Like, there's not one dude. I don't remember Magnum has been there every time we play Resmundo, maybe except for this year. Like, I don't remember not one dude that I could really pay attention to. Like, maybe Travis, and it makes sense because he's a pitcher. But everybody up there is taking daddy hacks. No home runs, nobody on base. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to go for my hole, and I'm hitting it through you, which is awesome for me because I'm all about that. Like, friggin', I'm all about that life. Bring it over here. But not everybody's like that. So everybody's just like, don't let them swing it over here. Everyone on there is hitting lightning bolts. So it's just like, I don't know what Resmundo you guys are talking about. They are walking that much. Clearly, it's like the losses or like their 0 for at bats that they're taking to heart, and they're like, you know what? Let me take a couple pitches here. Like, I don't know. I see them being like maybe a little timid, but like, or they're saving it up for something. But I have no idea what this strike zone you speak of. Like, it could be the worst pitcher you got up there, and he could throw the rosin bag up there, and it'd be like just hacking. And it's just like, I don't know what Resmundo you guys are talking about. It's always been a 30-plus game every time we played them.
Nice. So it's not the Resmundo that leads in walks and walk percentage. Now, DW, what's your thoughts on it?
Right. I agree with Magnum. The umpire rotation's gotten a lot better. I agree with John that it's not Resmundo that gets maybe just a slightly better zone. It's the major teams. If they do, it's the major teams. It's not one specific major team. And I don't think you can even say it's the major teams that get a better zone. I think it's individual star players that know the zone and the human nature that comes in to the umpire, being an umpire. And I'm going to use an analogy here to NASCAR racing. You're coming up on Dale Earnhardt Sr. or seniors. Dale Earnhardt Sr. is coming up on you on the track. You're saying at the beginning of the race, I'm going to race every guy the same way, just as hard. But it's Dale Sr., and you know he's a champion, and somehow you just give him a little more room. Maybe that's the human nature part that comes in with being an umpire. And I'm saying myself, I would not be a good umpire, but if I was out there, I'm going to tell you to your face, I'm giving you the same zone, but then possibly I fall into this trap too, where man, Ryan Harvey didn't swing at that. There was just a little bit something wrong with it. So, and I call it a ball. I think it's just human nature. I don't know. It happens in the Major League Baseball. You see with the strike box and certain players getting calls there. I think it's star power, and all sports have it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, Jason, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, and another thing, by the time you get to the major level, you've been in the conference a few years, right? So you've been around the umpires, you grow accustomed to them. Most people in the major, I guess I don't know, maybe they've probably been playing at least 4 or 5 years in the conference before they make it, and that's the good ones. And so you've been around the umpires. It's human nature, to be friendly, to know their strike zone and know what you see them so much, you know what they're going to call, what they're not going to call. And every now they'll surprise you and they'll call off the wall one. But, it's just like DW said, human nature where you've been around each other so much that they might like you as an individual, and they're not going to ring you up on a questionable. And somebody, say, on an A team they've never seen before, if it's close, they just pull the trigger, and vice versa. The players, I've been with so many umpires, so many years, I know, okay, say Lee calls it a little high, Ken Hawk likes it a little flat, or I'm just calling names. I'm not. And okay, he loves this low call, he loves this high call, so you know what you want to swing at, what you don't want to swing at.
Yeah, I think it's a great, we're jump here to a break, but I think this is great. This would be great for a future episode, maybe have an umpire on here, right? Or two, we could have that conversation. I mean, obviously, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, it changed the zone, but the human nature element of it, definitely interesting. And, in my opinion, I also just feel like just what Jason said, and actually, like I said, just a lot of experience from these major guys. They know what they're going to get beforehand. You know what I mean? As a first-year B conference team, we're not so sure. Do you know what I mean? So like we're trying not to leave it in the hands of the judges as much, and that probably hurts everybody's on base percentage a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because a little bit not knowing how that's going to be called as a more inexperienced team. So great conversation about that. I've got a great topic coming up here right after the break. We're going to talk about whether regular season tournaments matter to major teams, and we'll talk about that. We're going to come back right after this.
Win the game before you ever step on the field. Shop SmashTheSports.com for all your baseball and softball needs. Viper Premium Batting Gloves featuring Lycra Cool backing for breathability, Viper Skin Leather Palm for ultimate feel and grip, triple stitched seams for unmatched durability. Get your Viper batting gloves only at SmashItSports.com.
All right, folks, back at it here at the Hit and Sit show. Seems like we weren't gone for that long. We're right back at it. All right, so let's talk about big topic here, regular season tournaments. And Jason, I think, started this conversation before our break, talking a little bit about how Resi would look at it and say, hey, this is what matters, or how other people would also look at these tournaments. So do regular seasons matter, regular season tournaments matter to major teams, or is it all about the Major World Series? And actually, Jason threw in the Smokies in there as well. Joel, I know, let's start with you on this one, just because Jason, I know, did chime in, and we'll go back to Jason on this one, but let's start with you, Joel.
So the question is, does the regular season tournaments matter to major teams?
Yes. And I would extend that also. Well, yeah, we'll call it for major teams.
Short answer, nah, hell nah. But in order for the regular season to count, right, they need to have, they need to make it to the major. You need to prove to your sponsors that you're worth a damn, and you need to make sure that the rest of your team is well-oiled machine and all the chemistry is there and said like that. Let's think about the regular season for it. Like it's I feel like it's like genius how they made the major in the first place. AA major, what, it doesn't matter what the worlds, and then the regular season. You got all the dudes that start off too hot, then the people that heat up in the middle, and then everyone who gets hot at the right time and they win it. But there's one thing that's consistent. By the time you get to the major, I don't care who you are. You're spent. You're softballed out. I don't want to talk about next year. I just need to make it here. If I don't win this, I'm going to blow my own brains out. I need to win this, and that is the only thing that matters. And the only way to make it there is to clear your sanity and to make sure you got all your wits. Because if you went playoff mode all regular season, by the time you're at major, you're going to short circuit. You're going to come in. You're going to look like you've been tweaking a little bit. You'd be like, you good, man? You'd be like, I've only had 5 minutes to sleep. It's like, you're not going to really, you might as well just chill in the dugout all the time. So, like, major teams, the regular season should be just practice. Because, like I said before, the past 2 years, Resmando has lost to some characters that I'm like, ow. And then they win it. And everybody's just like, hey, you remember that time? Nope. You remember that time we won it? That's the only thing that matters. Only thing that matters.
Only thing that matters, who's standing at the end. John, what's your thoughts on it? And also, I'd also like to hear your perspective as someone running a AA team on that as well, on your end. But I'd love to hear let's start with the major teams, then kind of your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm not on a major team, so I can't necessarily answer that because I do look at it differently. Joel's right. They're looking to get right. They're looking to find the right lineup, to put up some stats for some guys, to gel as a team. All of that's important, and it's a long season. I mean, we're taking 3 weeks off. We're not playing till the Smoky because we almost want to recharge and get excited to play again because it is a long year. And if you play every week or every other week, you're going to get burnt out. You really are. But for us to win a conference event, it's huge. It's huge. There's only been 5 teams that have done it this year. So it's a big deal for us, for sure. It helps with our confidence. For the major teams, I know they don't want to lose. I know that they don't want to lose to another major team or a AA or an A or, God forbid, a B team or something. But their goal, and J-Mag will probably answer this better, their goal is to win that one at the end in October. So. Yeah,
Jay, do you want to kind of add some more color to that? Because we started talking a little bit about that before, but I'd love to hear your thoughts more now being the major player here.
Yeah, well, I used to, like, when I was coming up playing B, A, and AA, like, if we won a tournament, and it was few and far between, but it was like the greatest thing in the world, right? It was a big accomplishment every time you beat a major team. And then the last 3 years, it's like I've seen that with the teams that are already there, and they're that much better, no disrespect nobody, but everybody focusing on the Smoky. They want to win that because only the most powerful team in the country usually wins that, and it's a good indicator who's going to do good at the major. But it's almost like like he said, a process. It's a bonding. It's getting your chemistry right, tinkering with very small things. You already know who your go-to guys is. You already know everybody's history. Every now and then you got a guy that he has a bad year, and he might lose his spot. But for the most part, everybody's established. You know what you're going to get out of them. And it's just a process, man. It's a bonding as a team, getting your chemistry right, and hope you don't take any significant injuries. So, and another thing, going into the major, I mean, we all know this. You got dudes coming in bigger than ever. Everybody's as strong as they've been all year at the end when they should be the weakest, like Joel said. Somehow they're as big and strong as they've ever been. And it's just 1,000% intensity and focus at the major than it is any other tournament. It's not even close. Everybody comes in focused. Everybody's BPing, not saying a word. Usually it's like, dang, we got to hit BP. Okay. I mean, every single night leading up to the major, you're hitting your BP, you're locking in, you're focusing. It's just a different mentality when it comes to the major than the regular season.
Okay. DW, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, just real quick, 2006 maybe to 2016, we watched Resmondo, the Worth Resmondo, basically dominate every tournament every weekend for 10 years. And their mentality was the next game is our biggest game. And I think we all thought, old school people all thought that was the mentality every team had to have. But recent years, Resmondo and October's proved us wrong, and I guess it's working for them.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also hard to argue. I mean, no one ever, at this level, and from what I've seen, ever phones it in because there's so many things that are important besides. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have not only are you trying to, no one wants to lose. I've yet to meet someone that's in the conference that, it's great when we lose. Is no one wants to lose, and also there's other factors as well. Not only winning, but there's people that have sponsorships and bat contracts and other things that are going on. No one's trying to come and have a bad performance for themselves or their team. Do you know what I mean? For that weekend. So it's very interesting to kind of watch. But at the end of the year, right? It's about winning the big one, and then and whatever that big one is to you. It might be the AA Worlds. It might be the Major World Series. For us, it's B. Do you know what I mean? So it's different ones. You want to make sure you're peaking at that time. Do you know what I mean? Like, and not coming in, backing in the thing. Jason, we're going to add something there?
Yeah, I'm going to chime in on what you said. Another thing, people don't realize the pressure. When you're on the top teams, everybody wants your position. You have one bad weekend, everybody's saying you suck, you ain't no good. Like, all eyes on you at all time. And that goes what you say. You don't want to lose. You got sponsorship obligations. You got team obligations. You got the whole world watching. And everybody wants your spot. So being on those top four major teams, you always feel pressure to perform. So you never like get to take a weekend off. You got to come in prepared every weekend, and I think that makes a big difference too, because you don't want to lose to nobody, and you don't want to have a bad weekend.
Right, and you also know that everyone's going to try to give you their very best.
Exactly.
No matter what, it's going to be give the best and see what you guys can do with it. You know what I mean? So it is a lot of pressure there. But no, it's great discussion on that. It'll be interesting to see how this all ends up this year. We'll have to go back, look at this episode, right? Predictions and thoughts, and see where it ends up.